Hi. Uh, I meant to do this video last Saturday, but I needed time to unwind, and I just couldn't be honest. I just did not want to do a video. Uh, like I have been feeling. Just I watch other people's videos and I comment, and some people know that because I comment on their videos, but it's work to do a video, huh? Anyway, the week after last, I've been home for a little over a week. I came home last Saturday. This was just Saturday. I'm distracted. Anyway, this was last Saturday I came home. So it's been about a week that I've been home. Uh, yeah. Uh, my grandma called and said that my granddad couldn't eat and couldn't drink, and so like from the video before, I told you that he had because of cancer, he had a stomach tube, and uh, the cancer just grew so much that he couldn't use the stomach tube anymore, and then he couldn't swallow water anymore. And I said to my grandma on the phone, I said, so just gonna let him starve to death? And she started crying and said, well, what else can they do? And I said, yeah, well, that's a good point. And so my uncle, which is her brother, which is technically my great uncle, but I don't like saying great. I don't know. It's just, he's my uncle. We get along really well. He's the same amount of sarcastic I am, so on the trip there, we were like talking smack to each other, and it was really fun. Um, but anyway, I went there on Monday night, uh, and I said, well, how long are we gonna stay? And he said, well, it's any day now, so we're just gonna stay until after the funeral. And at the time, I didn't think I'm gonna stay until after the funeral. Like, I thought I was gonna stay, leave, and then come back. I just wasn't thinking about that. And next time I will, I guess. But uh, anyway, on Monday night, and this is already a 3-minute video, so I'm going to try to rush through this if I possibly can. On Monday night, uh, we visited him, and he was in bed, and he has these things. If anyone's known anybody that's terminally ill, and I did not know about these until now, there's these things. They look like suckers, and they have this little star-shaped pink sponge on top, and then there's a stick like a sucker stick, and he did it himself. Like, he had the cup of water, and then he put it in there, and then put it back in his mouth, and then he slept like that. It was to keep his mouth moist, because his mouth was dry. It was like he was so malnourished, like he couldn't even make saliva anymore. And that's really sad to see your loved one like that, and you can't do anything for them. But he liked having his hand held. He would put his hand out, and then you would hold it. And the first night when we went into his bedroom, their bedroom, he told me he kind of laid both of his hands out, which I thought was cute because he had kind of his eyes only a little bit open, so he looked like his eyes were closed. And then he put his hands out like this, and I don't know, I just thought it was cute that he put his hands out both like that. And then my relative held his other hand, and I was wanting to hold his that hand because I didn't want to lay on the bed with him. my grandma kept on pushing me. She said, no, lay on bed with him. Um, and I said, okay. And I laid on the bed with him on my side, and then I held his hand. And my cousin, I would think you'd say, because she says that my mom is her cousin, so I would think I'm her cousin too. She was a great help during this time. She did a lot of things for my grandparents during this year because they didn't have transportation sometimes for the doctors, so her husband made sure that they had someone to take them to the doctor. But anyway, I held his hand, and then it was like her husband, their daughter was there, and my uncle that drove me there, etc., was in that room. And my granddad, he said, this is my youngest daughter. And then the daughter standing there, and another person said, "Aw," and was kind of smiling at him and trying to act like he wasn't dying, and being upbeat. And they were like, "Aw," and that really touched me because he never called me his daughter before, and I really appreciate that he said that, probably more than he thought of, because he always called me his granddaughter. He never called me that ever. So the fact that he called me that was really touching to me. And then on Tuesday night, he died. He was struggling to breathe. My cousin that spent the night, another cousin that spent the night, he said, I don't know, he said he's going to die either tonight or tomorrow night or sometime this afternoon because he's struggling to breathe, and I don't know how he's still alive, because he looked anorexic. It was just really sad to see him like that. And this is definitely going to be a two-part video, but anyway, he brought in my sister and I have another sister, but she wasn't there, and said, I love you all equally, which didn't make me feel any better, but he said, I love you all equally. And the trip to Spain that we took, I enjoyed that the most out of all the memories that I have, that I can't remember another time that I laughed so much. We went on a 6-week trip to Europe when I was 7, so that's part of that. I don't know if he meant Europe in general, and he said Spain, or he specifically meant Spain. I don't know. But I know everyone laughed at me in the Mediterranean Sea when I was 7, almost drowning. So yeah, I had that, and then I had my cousin who I love so much, Nikki. If she's watching this, I seen her on Wednesday night, and of course, just for a couple minutes on Thursday, and then on Friday I seen her for at least a couple hours. So that was nice. At least I got to do that. And her mom, Kelly, I got to, because she came Wednesday night, because Nikki told Kelly, her mom, about it, and then Kelly came right after that, said she just told me, and the next day she cleaned the house top to bottom. I helped a little bit, but I didn't really help as much as she did, and that meant a lot to me, that she dropped everything and went and stayed, and then from what I know, she's still at my grandparents, because she was going to stay as long as she could, because they were married for would be 67 years in March. So yeah, you can just imagine how frazzled my grandma is, and crying and crying and crying, and everything that we say is the wrong thing, so it's better to just keep your mouth shut. You try to say something to make her feel good, and then she just gets defensive. But anyway, see ya.